Academic agent says that Ben Shapiro is a net disadvantage in the battle against the leftists. And what now for man raised by puffins? This is not Ben Shapiro, and this isn't the Ben Shapiro Show. Evening all. Yes, this is a response video to something that Academic Agent said on his Unpopular Opinions live stream recently. It's a very good episode. I recommend you check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. But before we get into that, let's say hello to our sponsors over at Birch Gold. Hello, Birch Gold. Anyway, I've got to keep the volume down because my wife's sleeping upstairs. My wife's a lawyer in the City of London, and yeah, she needs her sleep on a Helix Sleep mattress. So anyway, enough of that. So Academic Agent, in his Unpopular Opinions live stream last night, said that Ben Shapiro was a net disadvantage in the fight against leftists, whereas someone like Paul Joseph Watson is a net advantage in combating the radical hard left. This got me thinking about Shapiro and Watson as political commentators. Now, I must admit, I do follow Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire more than I watch Paul Joseph Watson and InfoWars. I barely watch InfoWars at all. If I do, it's because Paul Joseph Watson has said something that I find interesting. But I do check out Ben Shapiro 3-4 times a week, see what he's talking about, because I really want to understand American politics a bit more, the US Constitution, how American conservatism works compared with UK conservatism. So that's why I know a bit more about Shapiro, and I wanted to do this video as a kind of give my take on what Shapiro represents, and also to counter a few things that Academic Agent has said. I'm not going to do a hagiography of Ben Shapiro because I think Academic Agent made some very good points, that Shapiro is a little bit more highbrow, and he's pitching up a higher level. He's very grounded in the US Constitution and government practice. He's very much a William F. Buckley and Thomas Sowell style conservative. And it's great if you want to learn more about sort of classical US conservatism and the Republican Party. I mean, you know, Shapiro's your man. Paul Joseph Watson, I liken more to a bare-knuckle boxer in a sort of brutal contest. He pulls no punches. He is a scrapper, Paul Joseph Watson, and I can appreciate that from time to time. Whereas Shapiro is more a fencer. You know, he's regulated. He plays by the rules. And so, yes, I can understand Academic Agent feeling that Shapiro's not bringing a lot of bulk to the fight. But that's to misunderstand the qualities Shapiro is bringing to the fight and the battlegrounds he's choosing. And I'm going to just warn you in advance that I'm going to use a lot of strained sporting and military metaphors in this. So what do I mean by battlegrounds? Well, Paul Joseph Watson is a man in the trenches. He's a visceral, as I said, bare-knuckle boxer. He's going to go get stuck in with the bayonet, you know, in the mud and the blood, as it were. He's General Patton. Shapiro is Montgomery. Shapiro is more planning, cerebral. And he chooses his battlegrounds very carefully. And I think this is where Shapiro can be an asset. Let's have a look at the mainstream media. Shapiro has access to the mainstream media and is very good at getting onto CNN, in particular recently on the Bill Maher show. You know, he can come in and engage with these kind of mainstream media left-leaning types that are just getting dragged further and further to the radical left. And Shapiro's got a pass to go into that world, which Paul Joseph Watson wouldn't normally have. So let's think of another tortured metaphor. You know, Paul Joseph Watson is, you know, storming the beaches of Iwo Jima. Ben Shapiro is a special operations executive being parachuted behind enemy lines to help the resistance. You know, I mean, they're doing their bits. They're doing their respective roles. Now, I think what Shapiro's doing is important. If Paul Joseph Watson had been on the Bill Maher show, or being interviewed by Chris Cuomo on CNN, it would be very confrontational. They would be going after Paul Joseph Watson. Are you a conspiracy theorist like Alex Jones? Heads up, he isn't. In fact, I've been impressed by Paul Joseph Watson. He's kind of said, oh yeah, Alex Jones does all that crazy conspiracy stuff. So he's in InfoWars, but he's not an Alex Jones kind of InfoWars. And I think Watson has carved a role in InfoWars which is very distinct from Alex Jones. And I think that's to Watson's credit. But Shapiro, if as I said, if Watson had been on Bill Maher, he would absolutely, Maher would take whatever gloves were off and go for him. And same on CNN, they would try and get Watson to, they would try and trap him into revealing himself as alt-right or racist. They would try and demonize and smear him to their heart's content. And Watson, I think, would defend himself and bat away the lies, but it would be a scrapping contest, and it would be about him as a person rather than ideas he was expressing. What Shapiro has the advantage of, he can go on CNN, he can go on Bill Maher, he can have debates with Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks in public, and it's not going to be an ad hominem about Ben Shapiro. It's going to get straight to the ideas in the mainstream media. And I think Shapiro can fight those battles, and he is an advantage in that way. I don't think he waters down his conservatism on these shows. Some people in the comments section of the discussion on Unpopular Opinions was saying Shapiro is cut, and I don't believe that at all. I think Shapiro is very, he's not there. He's not doing the tribal fist fight that a lot of other people are. He is being intellectual and highbrow in his discussions. I mean, he will stick to points, not ad hominems, even though he's up against some garbage people, really garbage people. He's a cat again. Every third or fourth video, she wants. What do you do? Eh? But anyway, so I think Shapiro is doing a valuable job, but not. I agree with Academic Agent. He's not the one for the knockout punch, but I don't think Watson is. I think he will absolutely get stuck in. But in the culture wars, the left are extremely tough and resilient. I put it down to, they don't have much up here, so, punches to the head aren't going to do much to them. So you're in for the long haul. We need all these different types of people. We need the Shapiros, the Sowells, and the kind of Douglas Murray, for example. We need those people, and we need the scrappers as well, like Paul Joseph Watson, or sometimes, in a more light vein, Owen Benjamin and Stephen Crowder. Though, when it comes to it, I think Watson is kind of like the heavyweight of it. But keep slogging there, and their tears will end up in this lovely mug. Eventually the left, keep slogging away. So I do think Shapiro isn't a cuck, and he's not milquetoast, and he will. Oh yeah, that this cat is the Michael Knowles of my video, right? Yeah, she's here and thereabouts, but nobody knows why. So yeah, I think AA is being slightly unfair about Ben Shapiro. I think he has a very good place in the fight. I also want to clarify one thing about his defense. He said that brain fade. I'll be right back. Sarah Jong, that was it. So Shapiro said that he didn't think Sarah Jong's racist tweets meant that she should be fired from the New York Times editorial board. Just a clarification on that. He wasn't sort of making a massive concession. He wasn't cucking on the issue. He felt, and he said in a couple of episodes that dealt of the Daily Wire where he talked about this issue, was that he felt that it's up to the public to stop buying the New York Times rather than demanding that she be fired, because he has people he knows and he's friends with who there was a chap, I can't remember his name, I'm not going to pause the video again, who was fired from the Atlantic for expressing a kind of right of centre opinion. And Shapiro knows you are using their tactics that he doesn't agree with. If it just gives license to the left to start firing people left, right, and centre. So he is appealing for high value. He's saying, okay, if you want to hurt the New York Times over its hiring policy, don't buy the New York Times, because you're going to get people like Sarah Jung, and they're not your friends. So vote with your wallets. So, which I don't think that's making a big concession or cucking. I think what's interesting is Shapiro's written a book about how to debate the left. He has these tactics, and one of them is give the left victories that are meaningless. And I think in this case, I'm just trying to keep the cat away from folding in the laptop screen lid. She's just such an attention seeker. But give them a victory that is meaningless. And in Shapiro's case, saying don't call for her sacking, don't form a tortured mob. Let her keep her job, because it's a victory for them that isn't worth anything. New York Times has already gone to pot. It's already falling apart. Let it fall apart. Let it appoint more weirdos and racists and vile people to its editorial board, and watch the circulation drop until it's in a crisis. I fully understand that. So anyway, before we end here, a quick thing I like and a quick thing I hate. I like Pepsi Cola and I hate the word adulting. Anyway, this is all for tonight. I'm Nick Hughes, and this wasn't the Ben Shapiro Show.